I came home today completely tired. There was a lot to do at work. When I opened the door, I realized that my mother-in-law Grace had come to our house. Her voice was coming from the hallway, scolding someone. I walked in, said hello, and realized the reason for her displeasure. My wife Mary was lying on the bed drunken. She was sluggishly snapping at her mother's shouts. I thought wistfully about tonight. Now my mother-in-law would leave and my cherished half waking up would cling to me. Under the influence of wine vapors, she had the worst temper. I went to the kitchen to get something to eat, but I was in for a surprise. My mother-in-law had taken care of it. "Grace, let's have dinner." I invited my mother-in-law to the table. She came in 3 minutes later when I had already finished setting the table. "Her wife is asleep, baby," my mother-in-law said as she entered the kitchen. We ate dinner, and in gratitude for dinner, I poured my mother-in-law 100 grams of French cognac, and then some more because she liked it so much. While she was washing the dishes, I went to look at my wife. Mary was lying across the bed of sleep. Her shirt was pulled up, and in fact, she looked like a wrinkled pillow. I went into the bathroom to take a shower. My mother-in-law was still cleaning the kitchen. After a quick rinse, I came out of the bathroom and immediately ran nose to nose with my mother-in-law. We have a narrow hallway where the bathroom and toilet are located. To be honest, I've always had a soft spot for my mother-in-law. She's always been nice to look at. A rather tall, beautiful woman with long legs, narrow waist. You couldn't even say that she was my wife's mother, but she managed to hide such beauty under shapeless dresses, identical blouses and long skirts, and she also wore some old woman's tights. Despite the fact that my wife and I constantly gave her beautiful things, the only outfit in which I observed her with the light was jeans and a t-shirt when we traveled together to the summer house. My mother-in-law was 43 years old, but she could still give even the younger ones a head start. I had been married for 3 years, but my passion for my wife had not waned, and I often spent time with her. But sometimes, when my wife had those days, and she didn't have time for me, I remembered my mother-in-law. I realized that these were just dreams, and I didn't stand a chance. She was old school and puritanical, but back to the apartment. So jumping out of the bathroom, I literally mailed my mother-in-law Grace to the wall, not immediately realizing what had happened. Jane had changed into my sleeping wife's robe to make it easier to clean. While she was coming to her senses, something clicked in my head. Perhaps it was the cognac I had drunk. A few seconds passed. I came to my senses, recoiled from her, and quickly went to my room. My thoughts were dashing frantically. I didn't know what to do. I was shaking all over. And then my mother-in-law entered the room and closed the door behind her. At that moment, everything became clear without words. The next morning, I woke up to smells from the kitchen. My mother-in-law was making scrambled eggs. Mary was still asleep. She had been drinking heavily last night, but I wasn't interested. Walking into the kitchen, I smiled silently at my mother-in-law, and she smiled at me. In the morning, I realized that this would not be the last omelet my beloved mother-in-law would make for me. In the weeks that followed, Grace and I began a secret game behind my wife Mary's back. We both knew it was wrong, but we couldn't resist the strong attraction between us. We devised clever ways to find moments to be together without arousing Mary's suspicion. I pretended to stay late at work, and Grace made excuses to slip away from family obligations and hide in the bushes in the neighborhood park with me. It was crazy. The thrill of secret rendezvous fueled our passion. During the secret rendezvous, we were like giddy teenagers breaking the rules, intoxicated with lust and endorphins. Then we quietly returned to our normal lives. Grace playing the role of the caring mom, me, the dutiful husband, but the excitement of counting down the hours until our next appointment consumed all our thoughts. The reckless pursuit of pleasure left a trail behind us, the distinct smell of perfume on my shirt, the unfamiliar earring under the bed, the inexplicably torn t-shirts. My performance suffered, while I dreamed of our next connection. One day Mary mentioned in passing a mysterious scratch on my back, from a particularly heated interaction with Grace on the bookcase in my office the day before. My heart raced with momentary panic, but I quickly came up with the excuse of a box-carrying mishap. Grace and I realized we needed to take more precautions. This incident served as a sobering reminder that our risky game could end badly at any moment. But neither of us was ready to extinguish the burning excitement of our encounters that made us feel the thrill of life. Disregarding all arguments of reason, we rushed forward, two moths drawn to a flame that thrills even when it threatens to burn.